No, the title for this video and the thumbnail are not clickbait. They're not hyperbole either. RWBY Ice Queendom is the story that honestly reignited my interest in the RWBY franchise and gave me a shot of much needed hope for the franchise. The anime's mere 12 episodes are some of the strongest writing, action, storytelling, and character building in RWBY since Volume 4. And that's in my opinion, because I'm pretty certain I've heard other people say that this is the best RWBY's been since Season 3. But I'll let others debate that in the comments, especially since I've seen others say, no, this is the worst that RWBY has ever been. But let's dive into this. Let's see why and how RWBY Ice Queendom managed to bring me back into the fold just in time for RWBY Volume 9. Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem, here with a long overdue RWBY review and analysis brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. RWBY Ice Queendom is the unexpected in-between quill for Volumes 1 and 2. It tells a semi-canonical story of Weiss and Jean being attacked by a specialized Grimm which invades its victims' dreams and uses them to drain their life force and gain greater power before attacking others. Right after Team RWBY's victory over the White Fang at Beacon, Weiss succumbs to the influence of the Nightmare Grimm. With the help of the mysterious Professor Shiro, RWBY, Yang, and Blake enter Weiss's dream world to try and rescue their friend. This results in a series of wild battles that puts Inception to shame. The girls are forced to turn the proverbial mirror on themselves as well and address their personal and team weaknesses in order to uncover the truths buried in Weiss's heart and help her to finally wake up. I'm not going to comb, though, through the entire plot and all of the things that are within the show because it is packed, and there's just so much going on that there's no way I could cover it all in one video. And on top of that, I feel like if you're a fan of RWBY, this is definitely a show that you need to watch and enjoy for yourself. And if you're just a fan of anime, this is also just a great standalone anime that could also serve as a really great introduction into the RWBY franchise. Now, what made me fall in love with this anime and rediscover my adoration for RWBY was how Ice Queendom tapped into the spirit of the first 3 seasons and really nailed the personalities of the main cast, and it made incredible connections to future volumes within RWBY, and it delivered powerful and emotional payoff. Here's just a quick list of some of the many things that had me grinning throughout the entire series. I mean, really, I was pumped, I was happy, I was excited the entire time while I was watching it. So here are just some of the things that really grabbed my attention. I just love how all of the characters are back to who they should be. RWBY is again full of optimism, energy, and spunk, and it's great to see RWBY actually using her head once again. She's not the smartest person in the group, that's always been the case, but she's not some lucky dunce either, like how the later seasons portray her. And Yang is once again the fiery, bombastic, moral backbone and older sister to the whole team. And Blake is no longer the token faunus and eye candy for Yang, but she is once again the intelligent, introspective, loving girl who captured our hearts. And she takes action for change. She's finally making her own choices. I haven't seen this since, like, what, halfway through Volume 6? And finally, we get real development for Weiss, and she's still the perfect balance of cold and warm-hearted, full of restrained fun and biting wit. This anime also reminded me again of why I love the dynamic between Jean and Pyrrha so much. They're just such a great couple. And we get Ozpin acting as Ozpin, the man full of secrets and still doing nothing wrong. You can't convince me that Oz ever did anything wrong. And we get real redemption for the Schnee family in this season right here. And the fights have the spirit of Monty Oum's original battles. And I also love the little representations of Weiss running around everywhere, and the music is incredible, and the anime takes its time to actually highlight the really good songs. They're not just playing in the background, being overshadowed by all the other effects, especially the sound effects, like what we again see in later seasons. No, this anime takes time to highlight the good music. Oh, and the end credits finally have fan art again. I love that this is a thing because we've really been missing this from RWBY, that the fan art that was used as part of the end credits to the earlier seasons was a way to connect to the audience. And that's something that the later seasons of RWBY are really missing, a connection to the audience. And I really love how the dream world is just full of all kinds of wacky shenanigans, how it really implements various elements of fairy tales into the storytelling. Oh, it is amazing. And the anime did a great job of recapturing some of the best parts of the earlier seasons too, kind of creating them beat for beat, which I know some people are going to say is a little bit unimaginative, but honestly the way that they did it was very tasteful and really engaging. And the anime advances Team RWBY's character arcs and really illustrates them becoming stronger and more united as a team and as friends. It's just so good. All right, so I'm gushing a lot here. So let's address why this got me to care again about RWBY. First of all, let me just talk emotions. And I know that's very personal, but hey, that's kind of the experience that we have right here. Because when I first brought up the very first episode of this show, I was really thinking in the back of my head, I really don't care. I'm not even sure if I really want to do this. I know Volume 9 is coming out and I should try to get myself vamped up for this, but so much of my energy and motivation for this series is lacking. I don't really know if I want to get into this. But then I watched the very opening to Ice Queendom, and immediately I began feeling something. I felt elated, and it clashed so violently with my pessimism and depression regarding RWBY that I was like, wait, what on earth is going on here? And throughout the entire series, I just found myself growing more and more excited, more and more happy, more and more engaged and involved. And there were even 3 various moments within the show where I got emotionally choked up because it was exactly what needed to happen. It was exactly the message that I needed to hear, and it was exactly what the characters needed to experience in order to grow as individuals, as heroes. It was just so well done. I was genuinely moved, and so I began actually then to feel a little bit angry while watching this, because I was like, wait a second, why is it that the most recent volumes of RWBY have not gotten me to feel this way, other than forced anger at watching Penny die needlessly? That's what I felt. I felt more anger and frustration than anything while watching current RWBY, but yet Ice Queendom brought back that hopefulness. It brought back that joy. It brought back that calm. It brought back the laughter. I was laughing at where it was appropriate to laugh. I was feeling emotional when you were supposed to feel emotional. I was absolutely on this train ride, and that was exactly what needed to happen with this show. If a story can evoke positive, strong emotions in you, it is doing the right job. But this wasn't just simply stuffing puppies and kittens in my face. No, each of those moments of emotion was earned, and that is important. Team RWBY has coasted on wins ever since the end of Volume 4. The fight with Adam? Yeah, that really didn't draw me in at all. Sure, it was neat watching it the very first time, but I haven't been able to go back to it with any sense of emotion or excitement. And yes, while I did enjoy the gloss and glim of the fight between Cinder and Raven, which I did do a review on way back in the day, well, now it's lost a lot of that glossy sheen, and it's no longer quite as engaging. And the Battle of Atlas? Oh my gosh, I had to rewrite that entire thing, and you can actually watch a video of me rewriting it because it needed to be done. Ice Queendom, however, puts our heroes through the ringer. It actually challenges them. Rescuing Weiss leads to them failing in 2 massive missions. RWBY nearly dies at one point. And what is so great about the anime is that it draws out the best of each character's strengths by handing them losses to deal with. RWBY uses her optimism and spunk to come up with new plans on the fly. Yang brings the excitement and action of coming up with simple solutions to massive problems. And Blake is able to make real sacrifices to save her friends. And they all must ultimately work together, balancing strengths and weaknesses. And even the humor is enhanced by how the girls deal with their various difficulties, providing crucial levity at the right moments. So the best stuff is brought out by actually challenging the girls, not letting them just coast easily from grim fight to grim fight to grim fight. And Jean's good qualities are also highlighted in how he is a true friend, he's self-sacrificing, that he cares, and that he is observant enough to be a good leader and strategist. Rather than using drama to cause angst and tension like current RWBY volumes, Ice Queendom uses action and drama to generate character growth and plot progression. And oh boy! Just saying that brings me to the topic of plot progression. In 12 episodes of Ice Queendom, we covered as much substance as RWBY has covered in the past 4 volumes. And yes, I mean that. Volumes 5 through 8 have covered lots of land and time, but that is quantity, not quality. I feel like I've learned more about Team RWBY, and I'm way more fulfilled, and I even understand more about the world of Remnant now than I have after watching 4 volumes of RWBY, volumes 5 through 8. And that's sad because there's some really big lore dumps, some very cool lore dumps in those episodes, but it's not as good in terms of substance. It's all style, no substance. But here in this anime, not a single minute is wasted. Each episode tells a concise chapter in the overall story, rather than the janky episode format that has plagued the series as a whole. So within 12 packed episodes, we got to see crucial moments from volume 5 through 8 done right! Yes! First of all, we get wonderful symbolism regarding Weiss and her family. Her brother is an aloof, spying bat. Her mother is a literal shadow of herself. Her father a dominating force surrounding her like propaganda, twisting everything she knows. Klein is this mechanical whatnot who's there to serve Weiss, but she really has no connection there. And she has to settle for a mechanical dog. She loves Zwei, she wants a dog, but she doesn't have one, so that's why she's got a mechanical dog in this cold world. And her beloved sister Winter is reduced to a character in a book. She can love her sister, but she is as distant and unreal as your favorite fictional character. And this all leads to something the original series failed to do. Ice Queendom redeems the Schnees. While Yang breaks into one of Weiss's core memories, we see her grandfather without the lies from Jacques Schnee, and we see that he was a good man. Nicholas gives advice that will be critical in her decision to stand up to her father and save her family and save the people of Atlas and Mantle. It brought everything together for me and really highlighted how RWBY has instead used Weiss in recent volumes to just get revenge on the establishment and on her dad, then actually save and redeem the family. Ice Queendom corrects that and sets Weiss on the correct path. And as for Blake, we see her doing what she should have done at the end of Volume 5. Take out Adam. Granted, in the dream, she is fighting a former version of herself, but it's done right. This former version is a toxic Blake that was created by Adam, and Yang helps Blake to reject Adam's nightmare and influence. And then, with all of Team RWBY at her back, Blake fights back and delivers the killing blow herself and finds peace then with herself. It is so well done. It was very fulfilling. I was like, that's canon to me right there. That is canon, and that is exactly how the fight with Adam should have gone down, and it should not have happened at the end of Volume 6. It should have happened at the end of Volume 5. And this is what makes Ice Queendom so fascinating to me. This anime ties in all kinds of details from throughout all 8 volumes of RWBY. We get to see Ruby's silver eyes used in a way that makes a whole lot of sense and is still kept secret, which was really cool. And we get a hint of Ozpin's secrets and greater plans. We get a great reiteration of the conflict between Oz and Salem and their ideologies, and it landed so well there at the ending. And throughout, Monty was respected in the entire series. We get so much of what makes sense with the White Fang, with the Schnee Dust Company, with Atlas and its culture, the lives of all the different characters that we know, and we get direct references to many revelations and moments that come later on in future volumes, and they all felt earned and well placed. And when I think about why this anime actually lands so well for me, it starts making sense. There have been plenty of rumors recently about Warner Brothers wanting to export stuff like RWBY to Japanese studios for cost purposes. And when Studio Shaft can make the anime better than half of the original series, I think there's a very good chance that Studio Shaft made Ice Queendom that way on purpose, because they intend at some point to fully take over the production of RWBY and continue to expand on established canon and maybe even create their own alternate timeline where they conclude the story in a way that they feel is more fulfilling than what we've been getting, such as not killing Penny at the end of Volume 8. Ugh. Yeah, Miles and Carrie will probably get to finish RWBY on their own terms, but I see a very real possibility that Studio Shaft will be allowed to make their own take on RWBY. And if Ice Queendom is anything to go by, I can only see this as a good thing. But coming back to what I said at the very beginning, I'm excited once more for RWBY. I want to see what Volume 9 now has to offer. The only sad thing here to admit is that Volume 9 must prove itself to me. I'm hearing all these various rumors that the newest season is expected to be just as divisive as Volume 8. And that kind of bothers me. I have a nasty feeling that the characters are going to get put through some bizarre meat grinder to form them into the heroes that they are supposed to be. When Ice Queendom has shown that Team RWBY and Team Juniper have always been the heroes that we need them to be. And it takes the adversity within its story to manifest the positive traits and heroism that all of these characters have. Nevertheless, I guess I can say my hope springs eternal, and Ice Queendom has drawn me back into its realm, into the realm of RWBY. So, Volume 9, the ball is now in your court. Please do not disappoint me on this. But before I wrap up this video, what kind of writing advice can I draw from this journey through Ice Queendom? Well, there's a lot of weight and stigma that comes to writing prequels and in-betweenquels. The reason for this includes basically being beholden to ensuring that certain events happen within the future, and you are beholden to characters such as they are, to their history, to their personality, which means that you're limited in what new stuff you can add. And if you go too big, it could cheapen everything that comes afterwards because it doesn't seem quite as grandiose. And why didn't these characters use this power or this means beforehand? Was this just a Deus Ex Machina that you created to make your story special and stand out? So it's very hard to add anything new or engaging. However, that's the wrong way to look at it. Limitations within a story are there to actually help you become more creative. And I feel like Studio Shaft really did the best that it could with what limitations it had. And one of the best ways of looking is this. When you're writing a story, you have so many different moments with your character, so many different things you could do within your world that would be absolutely fun, but ultimately they end up on the cutting room floor because of time, because you can't just slow down the plot to engage in one cool, neat idea. What Studio Shaft did was they took a really neat idea and they expanded on it within the realms and limitations that the earlier seasons of RWBY had set. And they made sure that everything was still canonically connected. Now, by placing everything within a dream, they could go big and crazy. And yet, once you actually see them coming out of the dream, it's very clear that the Nightmare Grimm, while very threatening, is easily one of the weaker Grimm when compared to all of the others. And it's so specialized that you're not going to run into very many of these out there within the world. So they could go big within a certain confined space. But going big was ultimately there to complement character progression, to help explain why Team RWBY became so closely knit as we start going into the latter half of Volume 2 and going then into Volume 3. And so that's kind of my writer's insight right there. Limitations are very good for creativity. And if you're going to write a prequel or an in-betweenquel, you need to understand, okay then, what are my limitations, and work within that. And think about, what is a story that I could tell, that I could actually make personal. This is something that I heard from other writers, where it's like many times we just get so lost in what big things we can do that we forget to anchor it within the characters. And one of the really neat things that Ice Queendom does is that it really is focused in on the characters of Weiss and Blake and helping them to become the heroes that they are supposed to be. And so they looked at, okay, well, what are the canonical events of seasons 1 and 2? Good. What can we then add to that helps to complement what they've already done and what they are going to do and help them to become the sisters and friends that they are meant to be? And that is where Studio Shaft went. and they got creative, they got fun with it, but they never broke the canonical lines and boundaries that they were given. And that's, once again, really incredible because they didn't have to do that, but they did it. And again, I think it's because Studio Shaft is intending on taking over the production of RWBY. We're just going to have to see where it goes. But right there is my writing advice. Limitations are good for your creativity. Work within the canon so that way you don't break the plot or your characters. Alright, that'll do it for this video. Again, I'm now looking forward to Volume 9. I am a little wary because of the things that I've heard. It's a season that will have to prove itself, but I am way more excited and hopeful than I've been about the series in a while, and it's all thanks to this incredible anime. This is one that I'll probably go back and rewatch way more than I will Volumes 5 through 8 because it was just so dang good and fulfilling. I might even see what happens if I watch all of the episodes of RWBY and then just kind of insert this in where it's supposed to go and see how that kind of enhances the watching experience. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, if you're looking for more writing advice, please feel free to check out our other videos here. You can also head on over to our podcast. Links for those sites and more are going to be in the description. If you'd like to support us, please feel free to like, subscribe, or share out this video, but especially check out the books that we've already published. Let's put our money where our mouth is and let's see what you guys think about the stories that we ourselves have created. But until the next video, y'all, thank you so much for joining us on this adventure that we call writing. Thank you so much for giving us the chance to talk about stuff that we love, such as RWBY. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.